Kasia, and yeah, I'm responsible, to briefly introduce myself, I'm responsible for Latin translation of the Quran commissioned by Egidio da Viterbo that was published 2 years ago. And now within the EuQu project, I am working on a couple of editorial tasks that I have set for myself. And also I'm now in this nice stage when I am reading up in order to more fully prepare another project within the EuQu. So I'm sorry I don't have a nice PowerPoint presentation to share with you, because I haven't got to the point where I can raise my hand to ask a question, and not to mention sharing a screen. I guess I'm only millennial by name and not by my abilities, but I will try to explain clearly with my voice what I'm about to do. So my first editorial project that I am going to do together with Mercedes and Gerard is the translation, is the edition, critical edition of Muhammad Al-Ghazir polemical treatise, which is called Apology Against the Articles of the Christians. And this is a polemical treatise that was written by Morisco, and then in 1612 it was sent to the Dutch Republic by a Moroccan ambassador, Ahmad ibn Abd Allah al-Haiti al-Maruni. And then a copy of this translation is extant in Bodleian Library, and this copy is a fairly good copy. It's about 30 folios written in Latin with nice Oriental touch to it. It's not very grammatical Latin. It is, I don't know if I can call it Neo-Latin. It's more like Arab Latin. But then it was edited in 1697 by Zacharias Grapius from Rostock. And this is also very interesting from the point of view of critical edition, because it is heavily annotated. And the objective of this edition was to offer tools to be able to fight against Al-Ghazir's apologetic text and be able to refute it entirely. So there is a certain parallel with how the Quran was translated and then later on edited, let's say by Marrachi, so that the reader has the text, and he's not only able to learn about the text, but also able to learn how to refute it correctly. So this is the edition, and what obviously interests me in this edition are the excerpts from the Quran and from the tafsir. And the Quran is the Marrachi's translation, and then also the Hinkelmann's printed Quran is quoted in Arabic. So we have these Quranic sources, and on top of that we also have tafsir. And this is one project that interests me very much, and hopefully I will be able to talk more about it in May when we meet in Madrid, and we'll be talking about the Quran in Iberia. My other project that is not that advanced, I'm still reading about it. It is also going to be a critical edition of Ioannicius Galatowski's Al-Quran. So Ioannicius Galatowski was an Orthodox priest writing in Polish, and he wrote, of course, a refutation of the Quran, which was embedded in the conflict between the Orthodox and Catholic Poles. So I moved from Latin texts now to my native Polish texts, and I want to examine how Galatowski not only refutes the Quran, not only quotes the Quran in order to refute it, but also how he positions himself in the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth with his Orthodox ideas. So this is something very complicated for me, and I am reading up a lot about it, and I had a very fruitful conversation with Gulnaz about it, and there is this manuscript that's 106 folios. It is unfortunately quite damaged. So I will have to look for some other copies. But that leads me to that leads me to a broader question, which is something that I think I started to think about when, together with Davide Scotto, we were in Vilnius in a conference, and a team of Eastern scholars that have also gone to the Naples conference and presented their work started showing us their manuscripts of the Quran and the tafsir and the translations. And they said, this is very strange because the Quranic manuscripts are not written in Arabic, but they are written in Arabic script. And this is not Arabic, this is the Slavonic language. In that case, that was the mix of Belarusian and Polish. But look, the letters are Arabic. So then, of course, David and I started raising our hand and saying, yeah, this is not strange at all. We have seen plenty of that. And they were also claiming the 17th century translation of the Quran was the first European translation of the Quran. So then David almost had a heart attack, but we managed. But it was there in our heads that there are parallels between the Tartar intellectual production and what was happening in the Iberian Peninsula. We can be talking about, and this is also a point that Roberto totally raised when I was trying to present it with the 4 IPs, that we can be talking about something that is inherently Muslim, the manuscript production that is related to the fact that they are using their language, they're using Arabic, but yet they are living in Muslim communities. So they start to copy the manuscripts. When Arabic is already gone, they use the form, but not the content. So maybe this is not that surprising that the Moriscos and the Tartars have similar means. But I thought maybe it was worth comparing in more detail, especially the Quran. The Quran into the Slavonic Al-Hamiado, the Tafsir, and they are being edited already, so by the team at the University of Torun. So that would save me some work. But I think that the system of Al-Hamiado and the Slavonic Al-Hamiado, maybe we can compare that. We can compare the use of the Tafsir and the ideas that the Catholic, not really Catholic, Christian ideas being incorporated into the Muslim production in Europe. I think it's worth doing in a sense that how Tartars incorporated the ideas of from the Bible into their writings, and how Moriscos did the same in their writings. So this is also something what I would like to do. And there's also yet another text that I would like to edit. And with this, I'm going to finish, because I started, you start reading up and I realized there's no critical edition. And this is the Tartar Vita Ade et Eve. So the life of Adam and Eve. And it is a very interesting text. I learned that it came from Italy, and it was translated from Italian into Polish by one Kurtzman, and then another translator from Italian, 2 different transmission of the Italian original text. And then the Tartars incorporated it into their writing. They translated it into the Slavonic Al-Hamiado, and they extracted all the Christian parts and put the Muslim parts in it. So not only the Quranic quotations, but also all the rites, and also adapted it to their eschatology. And this is an apocryphal text. So it doesn't show in the Bible. This is how the Italian Christians viewed the life of Adam and Eve in the paradise, and when they were and when they were expelled from the paradise, and until their death, and how their children lived and kill each other. Well, you know the story. But then the Muslims had to adapt it to their milieu, and I think finding the sources for this, not only critically editing it, because there is more to that than just transcribing this story, but looking for the sources of the Tartar Quran, of the Tartar beliefs, and looking for the European sources for that story, I think that can be quite an adventure. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.